Welcome back to the Squat Plug. Today it's Mateo and Mark were here with me.
Same people as always.
As always. That doesn't change, at least not yet. And we're basically just going to be going over, I guess, like what we've been doing of late. It's been a little bit since we last had a podcast.
2 months, to be specific.
2 months.
2
Wow.
months?
Yeah, it's
Oh
been
my
a while.
God.
Wow.
I think that our last podcast was probably like about the Sheffield, right? It was
it? No, it wasn't. It was something after the Sheffield.
I don't know.
What did we talk about on the
Bess,
last
what did we
podcast?
talk about last podcast?
We'll figure it
Pull
out.
it up.
Our producers
Bess
working
is like
on it
our
out.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what.
Bess,
Well,
pull it
anyways,
up.
until we find it. So, how you guys been?
I've been well.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Good. Busy as shit, man. That's crazy.
We've been good. We've been kind of busy with the white toe drop,
Wow, dude.
training.
White toe.
That blew up.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We're
That was
doing pretty
incredible,
decent.
I
dude.
know. I saw you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
sign some big names.
Yeah, we got some pretty good. We got a really good team right now. We got a
Yeah.
really good.
Brandon Petrie, bro. That was fucking wild.
What was that?
Yeah.
Coaching science and another UCPL fiasco. What was that?
I forget.
Whatever. Anyways,
It's been so long, I
He
forgot.
really gets himself into so many fiascos. He's like, what? I've had like 36
Fiasco, what?
fiascos
Oh, yeah.
in the past 2 months.
36 fiascos, 18 beefs.
18 beats. Yeah, just beating
Argue
you.
with somebody every other day.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, we've been doing
Powerlifting
pretty
drama
good.
with powerlifting mama.
Hey, for sure. Huh.
Let's talk about the white toe, the new drop. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We could talk a little bit about. We don't have to go into a bunch of detail, but I'm sure people would like to hear. Like, I don't know. You started from the bottom, now you're here.
I mean, we're still in the bottom.
I think we're still on the bottom.
If you-
Yeah, started from the bottom, now you're like.
But however, though,
it's still my bedroom.
Yeah, you're like one tier above the
according
bottom.
to some, we're actually at the top. We're listening to the Carolina primetime recap with that.
So you're at the top or the bottom,
apparently
maybe the
someplace.
basement,
Yeah.
depending on who you ask.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened, right? So I was watching the Carolina primetime, right? And the commentators were talking about Carmen's slippers. She was wearing the white toes, the pink, the lavender ones, right? And they go like, "Oh yeah, those look like white toes." They're one of the big companies right now, like along with some other companies.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in my bedroom, like surrounded by boxes, because we have no storage units. Like literally, me in my bedroom, like fulfilling orders through my fucking.
It was crazy.
Through my fucking.
Bro, he named one Hundo, he named a Taurus, he named White Toe, and then he said, and then the other smaller companies out there.
But little do they know that I'm literally fulfilling the
man.
orders for my bedroom. There's no, like, our headquarters is literally
You're on some Jeff Bezos shit.
I am. But at least he had a basement. I literally have my room right now. I don't even have a basement in my house.
Sleeping with boxes of
I
slippers.
literally am
Yeah.
sleeping with the boxes. Like, he saw how I was. He
Yes.
came in one
Oh, yeah,
day.
of course. I was like, well, damn. I didn't know you lived like this.
Yeah, hey.
You poor man. Let's sell these shoes.
You know how some people were talking about
Buy
these
white
brands?
toes to support his lifestyle, please.
You know how some people, some really big influencers were talking about how they made out of their mama's basement and stuff. I don't want to say names.
Well, you can't say you're in
Yeah.
a basement because you live on the third floor, so, you know.
Yeah,
It's a
true.
little bit- he made it down from the attic.
Yeah, but
Like Quasimodo.
I don't want to say names, but you know who I'm talking about. They would say like, "Oh, I started like this my brand from like my parents' basement while they're living in like $1 million house, so their basement's
Yeah,
probably
I
bigger than
know.
my whole
I know.
house."
It's so bad hearing that shit. Like
Yeah.
when you think about like what actually took place there, you can't say that you came from the bottom up.
Only got a
You grew
small
up.
$100,000 loan
Yeah, for my parents.
from my parents.
I was only lower upper class growing up. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. It was bronze.
I mean, like, look, I'm not opposed to like saying that you started like small and you got bigger, but you cannot use the fact
No,
you
you
started
can't.
from your
We all
parents'
started
basement.
as small.
You can't.
But you cannot use the fact like,
Yeah, no.
like
Literally.
your parents'
Literally.
basement to say like, "Oh, I made it from nothing." Your family was pretty
Exactly.
well off before
I know.
you became.
I know it's
became big. But
ridiculous.
anyways, that's beside the point. But
So-
yeah, White Toe's doing pretty good so
But
far.
White Toe's doing
Yes,
pretty
really
good.
Yes, yes. Pretty good, very good reception. Like the colorways, people really like them apparently as well. We're still.
I love the black.
Thank you.
guys for
Thank you.
anything?
I have a wee
We're in
crap.
another
Wow.
The other car, dude. We had a whole fucking like like a fucking
You know what?
like a clusterfuck with the cars today.
Yeah.
It started off with Bestar's car, from Bestar's car to my car, from my car to my other car,
You guys
my other
did.
car to
You
Bestar's
guys-
car.
It's fine.
There was a whole lot lost
So
like in the
you
mix.
It's
know
fine.
what? Just let me know your size and I'll have something shipped out.
We got you.
Don't worry about it.
We got you, brother.
Anyway, so
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
so yeah, we're doing really good so far, and Yuli, you've been good with coaching as well. You've
Yeah,
been
things have been
handling
moving, bro.
people.
Yeah. Things move on. Carmen did very, very well. Very, very well. Like she came this close to taking first, I want to say, at CPT.
And get her pro card.
We ended up at second. Our expectations there were basically just to go out there and solidify a good dots and a good total so that she could find herself performing at the prime time spot for USAPL Nationals. That's really what it came down to. So we achieved our goal and we surpassed it in many, many ways. I had some very high expectations. I didn't expect bench to peak so well. Squats, we definitely could have hit a national record there. We held back because we were like, it's going to be temporary. There's somebody, I forget what her name is, who recently at a local meet, like 430, 440 in squats. And a couple months we'll be building until nationals, and we assume she's going to break it again. So to potentially risk missing a lift for some clout, points, it wasn't worth it. We wanted really, to grow her deadlift, which was having some issues, and having RP10 squat wasn't the way to do so.
Yeah.
For bench press, I felt like she could have did more. But at the same time, we held back because this is uncharted territory for her. And I felt like, what I've seen in the training is that pushing a little bit too hard for uncharted territory typically didn't work out, so we held back a little bit.
It usually doesn't work out very well.
3 for 3 over 5 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, what's more important there?
Totally
So
agree.
we moved in that direction. And then we found that we had a chance to actually make our way to first. And it was basically a little bit back and forth between ourselves, her, and Solana to an extent. And we came out on top of Solana and just beneath Brandis. Brandis had a phenomenal performance. Dude, it was incredible watching her work. They knew what they were doing. I have to give credit to Sean, who was paying attention the entire way. As I was there making attempt changes at the at the desk, there he was with pen and paper in hand, ready to do the same thing. So kudos to him for doing so. You like to see that. You like to see people basically who are into the game. They're into the sport.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're there basically pushing back and forth. It was like a chess game. It was pretty fun to be a part of, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And we just banking on her missing that third attempt, and unfortunately for us, unfortunately for her, she hit it. And she took it as a result of that.
That's great. So now,
first.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. So what's the plan for Carmen for nationals? Are you trying to get the pro card? I think the first 2 or 3 get
First,
a pro
for
card?
top 3, get a pro card.
Yeah, will
And
you go
I
for
think
that?
she's in that position right now. We'll see what takes place. What I think is not to basically go, to contend against other people directly as far as that's concerned, to worry about other people. It's to have her maximize her performance and to do what she needs to do and meet the. Her thing is, I tend to be a little bit more dramatic. For her, it's all about lifting.
You don't say.
For her, just showing up and lifting. That's her thing. So we're just gonna basically beat her old numbers, and do we need to do that?
I mean, that's all the lifter can really do, right?
And I
Is
think-
show up and,
Yes.
and try to do better than they did last
Yes,
time.
and if that takes place, we're looking at top 3 and most likely top 5. Which is very, very good. Her work has been fucking phenomenal. Shit like that, what she's been doing, her attitude, her morale, that kind of stuff. We've been working together quite closely, I guess, to grow her numbers over the past few months and over a year now. And it's just incredible to be a part of that.
That's
I'm
great.
Proud to be part of all my lifters' processes and whatnot. And it's crazy to see somebody on my roster, reach that level.
Yeah.
This douchebag over here is going to be there too.
What are you talking about? Me?
Soon enough.
I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll see if my coach is competent enough to get me up there.
I mean, you already qualify for Raw Announce, right?
Yes, I am doing nationals, and I qualified for the Open, and I'm doing Open as my main division.
Yeah.
I could have done juniors as my main,
It's a cope.
but I really
Yeah,
didn't
but
want
don't do
to.
that, no.
I mean, I still signed up for it just because I wanted to see how I'm going to rank up against people my age. But I signed up as Open.
Open's where it's at, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It lends more credibility to what you're doing. I mean, going against people basically where there's no competition doesn't make sense. Like we were considering last year for this past meet for collegiates, having Mateo bulk up to 125 because there was no competition.
Not even 125. Book up to 110.1.
110.1. And he would have taken first place. But what does that mean?
In the 125s?
Yes.
Like the competition.
collegiates?
Okay, yeah. The competition was so low that the first place in the 125s totaled 35 kilos less than me. That I got ninth place.
God damn.
Yeah, that was a big.
That's quite the drop off.
It is.
It was, but there was not a lot of competition. The 125s.
You have to also understand, in the lifting gauge and whatnot, to get into 125, to be a solid 125 for someone that young is very, very tough.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be
Unless
solid.
you're already like a monster.
Yeah.
You have to start lifting.
In which
Like
case,
really tall, really big, like naturally.
Honestly,
you
in
know?
which case, if you're that big in a monster,
play
125
You're probably
football,
not
play
doing
football.
powerlifting.
football.
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably playing football.
golf, something
Yeah.
like that.
And if you want to be a powerlifter that big, you have to start lifting since you're fucking 3 years old
Yeah,
to
right.
be like a filled out 125.
Ulrich.
Well,
York. Yeah,
You
you're
don't have to
yeah.
be. You could just be a fat shit.
I don't want to. You know what? You got butthurt for
Raise
my
his
comment,
own
so I don't want to
hand.
say anything.
Okay, I got you. The cookathon has begun. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Are you gonna start beefing me too now? You don't have enough beefs going on?
Hashtag canceled.
So you got a little crew going down to nationals.
6 of us. It's me, Mateo, Carmen, Samantha, and Grace.
Nice.
Yeah, it was going to be.
And you're going to compete
I'm going to be competing
125
125 kg
open,
The cope weight
not
class.
masters.
I can't.
Not yet.
Not ever. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I think that the same thing I think about Mateo competing in juniors. I think for myself in masters. I think. I don't know. I have a very optimistic mindset to say at least. Some will call it.
But hear me out, right?
No.
What if
Hey,
there's
that's
somebody?
fair.
What if there's
Well,
somebody,
Dave Rick still competes in the open, right?
know,
So,
I
like, if
appreciate
you
that.
can, if you can compete in the open for as long as possible.
But hear me out, right?
By all means.
What if there was somebody in the masters division that is like really close to you, and it could be like a really good battle?
I still wouldn't. Honestly, right now, my mindset is the answer to that for me would be no, because as good as that is, look who I'm competing against in my weight class in the open division. That's actual competition. Imagine.
M1 is.
Well, look, if I hit first place, like in Masters, I hit 840 kg total to take first place there. Nice. I give myself kudos, get a little bit of medal. Maybe there's a cash prize at the end of it and whatnot. But what does it ultimately mean compared to the fact that I could do more, I should do more, and in the open weight class, there's somebody out there doing
Where you
like
think you'll
close to
place in
1,000.
the open right now?
Potentially top 10.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Top 10 out of 14 people.
Top 10 out of 10 people.
I mean, I think that's fair. You know.
So I would much rather, I guess, be breathing down Rondell's neck than I'd be, I guess, than to win Masters and to have no real competition out there. That's my thing. It's a shallow win. It's a shallow victory. Yeah. You know, I'd much rather, I guess, lose in contention than I guess than to win that way. You know.
No, I guess that's fair.
It's more meaningful.
Yeah, but anyways, enough with us. How about you, Mark? We've seen you've been training, and your training has been going pretty good so far. So, what's up with that?
My training has been going really well.
Your squats especially have been blowing up. I think it might be because of the knee sleeves.
Oh, it's
You might
definitely
be a little too reliant on them, you know? That's what
There we go.
It's definitely all the knee sleeves. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
And if I literally forgot them, I would drive home to get them, just so I didn't have to squat 20 pounds less in front of everybody.
I mean, I would. How do you feel about that? You made a little post. You made a post.
The
You made a post
reliance
about
on the
it,
knee
right?
sleeves.
You made a little post about it.
I think it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. A piece of equipment that, like a belt, helps you maximize performance.
That is allowed in competition.
It doesn't really strike me as something that you should limit using in training.
I agree. It doesn't correlate. It doesn't make sense. How I think of this as, the whole, because the thing basically comes down to, for the people who are listening who may be kind of puzzled as to what we're talking about here, there's a little, I want to say, a little training routine or regimen, whatever that's coming out there, where people say that, in other words, in training, you should probably not be lifting with the best knee sleeves, the Inzers and maybe the E7s.
The latest ones,
Yeah,
the really stiff.
And you should probably be lifting with, I want to say, the more flexible, less reliable, less stiff knee sleeves, the regular ones out there instead.
And the argument being?
The argument for him is, for that individual, was that apparently doing so makes you too reliant upon those knee sleeves and so on and so forth. That kind of holds back your training, presumably. Zero evidence provided for this, by the way. All this was literally pulled out and conjured out of this individual's ass. There's no evidence to back that up. And I think a good analogy for this is, let's just say you're practicing for baseball, right? And there you take a baseball bat and you make it 20 pounds heavier than a regular baseball bat is. And you swing it away in practice and that kind of stuff. And then there's the actual competition itself. There's the game. And you're playing against the opposite team. Now you have a baseball bat which is 20 pounds lighter. For analogy's sake, I know 20-pound baseball bat was pretty ridiculous to thought. But now you're swinging. How would your calibration be? How would your precision be? What would you have been used to the entire time? And does that or does that not take place when it comes down to going from regular knee sleeves to the Inzer knee sleeves?
No, I
think it changes your positioning. Are you hitting depth now? Or are you missing it? Because you feel an added tension in the back of your knees. And that's what I noticed the first time I put my Inzer knee sleeves on, is all of a sudden I was skirting depth. Because I felt the same tension in the back of my knees as I did when I had regular knee sleeves on. Mm-hmm. So this is something, I guess, that works against that argument quite a bit. In addition to the fact that there's no actual evidence to back this up. apart from just like maybe anecdote and him saying, "I think this must be the case, therefore it is the case."
Yeah.
It's very wrong.
And the only evidence is like the only evidence is like the athletes this person has used it on. He has like no other evidence
What's
besides
the size? And what are the parameters? Like, like what kind of statistical, I guess, like analysis is he doing over here, if any?
None,
right? So I think it's all horse.
the only statistical analysis. The only statistical analysis is like the thing that
So I
he
read
thinks.
ANOVA.
He thinks
just,
that
if
he believes that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. People are getting probably a good 20 pounds out of those sleeves.
But
honestly, I would say less, and depends on the load.
For me personally, I think 20 pounds probably is like around the amount.
I think that's a average number that we can use. Like when I first got them, I basically I squatted like 20 pounds more for the same load at the same RPE than I had a week prior in my SBDs.
Yeah.
But
when I first got them. That was like from 1 week to the next, one change in sleeves,
but it's
20 pounds.
Still anecdote.
Of course.
Because what else is taking
place?
place?
I'm not saying that this is like empirical
context,
evidence of any kind. I'm just saying, from what I've heard from other people, based on my own experience, I really don't think people are getting much more than 20 pounds. And some people might not even be getting that much because I really think it's dependent on how you squat too.
Yeah.
The faster you hit the hole, which
dive bombers aren't getting shit out of it.
You think so?
No, I think they're getting more.
I would say not so much. To be honest, you don't.
Well, if you think about how it works, right? Like you're going to stretch out the properties of the knee sleeve, right? And that's going to acts as like a rubber band almost, right? And it aids the stretch shortening cycle. The more stretch you get, the faster stretch you get, the faster it's going to rebound. I guess it also depends on what we're defining as like dive bombing here, because like if you're a dive bomber where you cannot control your positioning, yeah, I agree that you're probably not going to get as much out of them.
Getting at, because like is, with that extra
I will always say that dive bombing efficiently is an art. Because I am one that will always say the faster you can go into the hole, the faster you're going to come out of the hole.
Well, you're also looking at the static stretch reflex there. That's what it comes down to. The stretch shortening cycle you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the other issue with that, though, is when the weight starts to get heavy enough, you're looking at, I guess, you want to see maybe like 500, 600s and so on and so forth. Going down that quickly, what I've seen happen myself is that basically you come down and it pushes you forward. Now all of a sudden,
well, this is what I mean.
You find yourself clamshelling out of the squat. It becomes like a good morning. That's very tough to do so with any serious amount of weight there. And so
this is why I hate tempo and pause squats. Because you avoid learning how to do that well.
True, but I still don't think that there's not that much of a benefit derived from it itself. Whether or not you can, I guess, do it well or so on and so forth, the limiting factor there isn't so much leg strength at this point in time as it becomes, I guess, erectors and like how well they can.
I think the skill factor comes into play at that point because the load's really heavy and you have to kind of control your positioning. You have to maintain good speed but not be too slow. And obviously reverse direction without getting pitched forward. To do that with a heavy load under high speed is really hard to do, and most people are not good at it. So they get pitched forward really hard, and then they go, "I'm going to do pause squats and tempos to fix this with 75% of my max."
That's 75% of the max. I think that's bullshit. I think the lowest I program is like at 80%. If a person's injured, perhaps I guess we'll look at maybe 70-75%.
Oh yeah. I'm just talking shit.
I hear you. But I'd say, okay, so back to the main topic.
I know, we're way off on a tangent here.
We just started talking about squats.
Before we wander off over here to uncharted territory.
Fair enough.
And we're talking about knee sleeves, guys. Knee sleeves.
They are allowed in competition, and I do think that the whole premise and the idea that not training with them benefits a person in their meet day competition, meet day performance, whatnot, is spurious.
Well, I just think if you're not going to wear them, you're going to lift less. So you're not going to drive the actual adaptations that you want to lift more.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were just talking about percentages, right? Relative of 1RM, that percentage fucking matters, especially for 1RM strength. The closer you can get to the 100% and lift more sets, reps, whatever, closer to that 100%, the better off you're going to be for 1RM strength ultimately, right? So if you keep doing things that take weight off the bar, that's not going to help you lift more weight in the long run.
So what that tells me perhaps is maybe this individual's lifters are overshooting quite a bit.
Oh, probably.
So if you're overshooting and you basically remove knee sleeves and I guess have lower quality knee sleeves on, you're decreasing.
You're still going to
the
try to
load.
put more weight on the bar, though.
But you're still going to be lifting less.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like,
that
you know,
doesn't necessarily matter. Like, people think that matters, but it's like, there is evidence to support this too. And on top of my own experience with doing conjugate, right? Like, I would do, an SSB box squat with bands, wide stance or whatever, that added all these different constraints to the movement to the point where I could only get like 400 pounds on the bar, but it would be like an RP 10. And the fatigue, because my response to it internally was that it's an RP 10, the fatigue was the same regardless of the bar weight.
I found for me at least, and also for my lifters, what I've seen, that doesn't.
I'm doing like
You sound like
I'm doing
that
like
person right now.
5 second
For me and my
grinders.
lifters.
Yeah, no, I know. I do sound like that person. Honestly,
But I'm doing like you have to consider
I'm
though
doing-
that I'm doing like legit RP 10
Yeah.
singles.
I don't push for RP10. I think the most I tend to push for my lifters I've seen is 8.5, 9. On sparing occasions when we're trying to basically, it's like, see exactly what person's at, testing out strength. We'll go to 10, but I find it tends to be counterproductive as you hit 10s and so on and so forth.
Oh, for sure. I'm just making the
even with
point
the
that
offenses. I hear you.
if I could like during that period of time when I was doing that type of training, like so let's say I squatted like a single, which at that at 90% of my comp squat at that time was like, I don't know, 450, right? Let's say I did that and it was RP 8, right? That would be technically less fatiguing than me doing the 400 pound squat at RP 10 with all the constraints that made it an RP 10, but the weight was 50 pounds less. Right. That's just the point I'm trying to make. That like an RPE is an RPE, regardless of like the absolute weight on the bar.
I don't know. I mean, I think that may not be the case because you look at different tissues which are being taxed in the process. You may find, I guess, for low bar squat versus, let's just say, I don't know, like a more difficult squat variation, like a front squat. Just the amount of weight that you're lifting and like which.
Well, the
tissues
front squat, like a
should be
front
taxed.
squat, the load will come down so much that it's probably going to change a little bit. But like, let's say you do like a high bar versus a low bar, and let's say you squatted low bar, you squatted 500 pounds for a single at 8, right? But like with high bar, you squatted 475 for a single at 9. Right? Like, which one's going to be more fatiguing?
We also look at what's taking place there, right? So you do that low bar squat and you do the high bar squat at 8 and 9 respectively. You finish the session, and where do you feel that fatigue? Where do you feel that soreness? That's the question.
I mean, probably the same spot.
I think it's
I mean, depends on like how. Yeah, but I guess it depends on.
high bar squat. You typically feel it more. I want to say in your abs to an extent, your quads, and also your erectors, like big time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Low bar squat, you
I
feel your
agree
hips.
with that, but like I'm not necessarily talking about like DOMs or like feeling tired. Like I'm talking about
I'm talking
like
about feeling
the
tired.
neurophysiological response
Well, feeling tired, I think, is
of
part-
like an internal load, like you experiencing an RP 7 versus a 9 or versus a 10, regardless of what the weight on the bar is.
I still think it works. I still think basically it is relevant. I mean, that's my take on it. However, though, each person has their own interpretation of this stuff out there. I find for my lifters, that tends to correlate. It tends to basically to pan out. When I have a person do a high bar squat and they're hitting like an RP8 there, I find I can.
You know what's
anticipate-
wild? I'm sorry to cut you off. As we were talking about knee sleeves,
I know,
and
I
I
know.
feel so lost at this
But it's
point.
okay. Right now, like you guys talking about coaching bases, I'm just like sitting in a corner, like listening to you guys.
All right,
It's
let's
unfair to him.
All right,
No,
let's, before we go like deep into the weeds, we have this like hypothetical scenario of like a high bar squat
There's
versus a
no
low
data
bar.
here either. That's
You know what? I was
We're just
about
like,
to say.
and we're just saying numbers. We're like RP7
Trust
versus
me, bro.
9.
What
Trust
I've
me,
seen with my lifters, that's precisely.
You know what I
how
was
it
about to
sounds
say? I was about to say, like, Yuli's gonna unfollow you after this too. Let's say you leave
I'm gonna block his ass after this. I'm reporting you. That's it.
once we leave
Blocked,
this place, unfollow because he disagrees.
I don't
with
like
you.
the way you're making me feel
I'm
right
gonna make
now.
I'm gonna make a fake Instagram account and start talking shit on your posts. A la Henry.
Henry. Who the fuck is Henry? No. But no, I mean, I think the whole point of all that was like to compare like the new generation knee sleeves to the old generation knee sleeves and potentially the training effect it would have.
And I think it just.
I
it doesn't make sense.
generally think like wearing the new generation sleeves, if it helps you lift more, it's gonna help you lift more later.
I agree.
At the end of the day, for me personally, also like having those knee sleeves, it's not only adding pounds to my lifts, it's also making my knees like feel better because usually
That actually could be.
I
There
used
could be
to have a
something to
lot
it.
of knee pain when I was wearing like any other kind of knee sleeve, and as soon as I
That's
started
fair.
wearing Inzers, my knee pain like basically like disappeared. I want to say like it's a lot. They're a lot more supportive.
I just like can barely feel my feet after like
That's
30
too tight.
minutes in those things. I'm like, when I go in, I go a bar. Once I don't put them on until 3 reds.
Yeah.
And then, like, I can only keep them on for, like, 20, 30 minutes. And my
get
shit
it.
starts to turn purple. I'm like,
Way
I got to
too
get
tight.
these sets done.
Also, mine's actually kind of baggy, legit. Like mine's are loose.
So it's like,
They'll actually,
it's
like,
really
start to
strange
fall
that
off.
the A7s, like, they come up super easy, come off super easy. But when they're on, they just, like, hug your
I think it's
freaking
because of the
knees.
shape of the.
No, for sure. And I walk like I have, like, wraps on. Like, I walk like I have a dump in my
I've
ass.
I gotta try them out.
I've tried like I've felt them. I've never put them on, but I've felt the material, and I felt like they're not as stiff as the Inzers. But
The
maybe
Inzers, like, feel a little more dense.
yes. But I think what happens like since like the way you explain it now, it's maybe like the way that they're shaped. Maybe it helps you feel more
Hourglass
supported
shape.
because the hourglass. Because like I guess it's what's it called? It tightens more like around the knee.
Yeah.
So like it makes you feel more supported, I guess.
Yeah.
The contours aren't anymore.
Yeah.
You're right. I can see that being the case. I wouldn't mind trying them out. In fact, I think I may well try the rigor mortis, is what the case is.
I want to try.
I've been wanting to like try other kinds.
I want to try the
I
Titan
want-
ones.
I've heard that
people say good stuff
Jay
about them.
Karbowski just bought the Titans. I saw he posted them on a story, and I was like, "Ooh, let me know what you think of those."
I'm curious
You
to
know
hear.
what? When I heard about them, I heard like they're a little stiffer than the Inzers, but they
The
bunch
Titans?
up around. Yeah, but they bunch
I have
up.
that happen either way.
They
Those are,
bunch
like,
up behind the knee
cone-shaped.
more. Like like so. I don't know. I guess, but again, they're cheaper than the
I don't know.
Let's talk about that.
You want to?
Yes, like the white toe knee sleeves. 'Cause
Okay.
They exist.
Oh,
yes.
because they
Prototypes
exist.
exist.
The
The
prototype.
The
prototypes
prototype
exist.
exists.
Yes.
Those will be the cheapest new gen sleeve on the market.
Pretty much.
That is actually the move. That is the plan.
If we actually decide to come out with them,
The issue we're currently having with them is just consistency and overall production. You know, like what happens is these fucking assholes will produce the shit, and you have like the same sizing will fit 3 different ways. You'll have an XXL, and it'll fit. It won't fit. It'll be too tight. Whatever the case happens to be for each one of them.
Interesting.
I had 3 pairs of the Inzer knee sleeves. The first pair, I had to cut them off. Same size. Second pair fit perfectly. Third pair, too tight.
And they're all the same size?
you know what the thing with the Inzers is? I think they also changed manufacturers because the quality has gone down as well. So maybe
they
that
may-
might
I've
be another
heard that.
reason.
Or they have the same manufacturer. The manufacturer decided to take shortcuts.
No, you know why? You know why I think it's a different manufacturer? Because they've changed the packaging as well. They've changed the bag that it comes with.
they
It's a
really?
different bag now.
It's not the same blue mesh bag.
Nope, it's a different bag. So I'm pretty sure they changed the manufacturers. So,
Interesting.
That is interesting.
but yeah, so that's
consolidated
our
use.
thing.
Well, I mean, I've heard the quality has gone down. You've said that. I've heard a few other people mention that, but I've also heard that, like, and I know you've mentioned this too, and I've heard this from other people that lifters were blowing the stitches out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard that happen.
So
That's
it's
another
like,
reason we don't
but
want to
like,
rush
but you
it.
would think
Exactly.
that if Inzer was getting these complaints, like, hey, these sleeves are literally blowing out while we're squatting, like, you would think that not necessarily that the quality would go up, but they would at least fix the issue, the quality control issue.
You know what I think? Maybe the fact that they made them a little less stiff might help with that.
Oh, maybe
Maybe that might be one of the
Maybe
reasons
that's one of the
also.
reasons why.
Could be.
That would explain
Could
it. The other thing I think that also would explain is that now they're saying it's manufactured in the USA. I'm not sure if that was the case before. So if you're manufacturing it in the US and you're saying, all right, here's this material you're using. Hey, we can do it at home. How about we try this out? And you fucking start doing it yourself. Maybe your stitching isn't to the same, isn't to snuff as compared to like how it was out in China where it was produced originally. Where they've been doing this for a good long while, perhaps. It's pretty crazy. I mean, we live in a day and age that Chinese manufacturing may actually be quality product now.
Yeah.
You know, so we're starting to see that.
I have so
We're
many
seeing it with
jokes I
White Toe,
could
too.
say right now. I'm not going to.
So that kind of stuff, though. So, damn it, Mark. So that kind of stuff, though. So I think that's a possibility as well. Maybe because the manufacturing will be here, and maybe I guess they're doing it themselves. I mean, trying to limit it for so many different things that could be taking place over here. But that could also be another way that's taking place.
They're probably all getting. All these companies are probably getting the material from the same spot.
I would assume so.
Nah,
but maybe
you'll be
not anymore,
surprised.
You know. So what I think basically our issue here is the fact that it's inconsistent. We want to deliver a product which basically people can rely on, which doesn't change from shipment to shipment. It's just based off who happens to be wrapping it around the dummy's leg and then stitching it. Did this individual get 3 hours of sleep last night and showed up to work with a case of the fuckets? You decide to do a little bit looser. Now you're looking at like a triple XL instead of a double XL.
Do they have a really hard training day the day before, and they don't feel strong today? They cannot really pull the.
Or do they come in coked out and fucking now I'll say double XL is actually a medium, that kind of stuff.
I think that's fair. I would hope that there was something in place that didn't allow that to happen within the warehouse.
Yeah, it's called quality control.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not sure it exists in some of these places.
That's fair.
So
I don't know.
It's something to consider. And so because of that, we've kind of been there's been I want to say lukewarm progression on our end in that direction because we want to get it done right. We want to deliver something which actually is inexpensive. It's accessible to people. It's something where people say, "Oh shit, it's cheap," but look at the fucking quality. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if we can push in both those directions, that's the move for us.
I mean, I don't think it's more of a quality issue, as it's more about the fitting right.
That's quality.
It is quality, but when people say quality, they probably talk about more the fact that they won't break down.
Yeah, well, I would say.
But I guess I get it that they're both quality issues, but when people hear about quality, they think more about.
Yeah,
true, but I'm also thinking about the quality of a production consistency.
Yeah,
I think that's just as important part of quality as the other components. So
the efficiency of the process.
Precisely, because imagine you order pairs of knee sleeves, you have to return them, and we're basically, I think the budget that we have compared to how much it costs to produce these things allows people to have those returns take place.
I've been telling everybody honestly to buy 2 pairs.
Yeah,
Because everyone's like, well, what size? What size? And I said, listen, if you have the money to you're going to get it back, just buy the pair you think you need and a size up, and then try them both on, and the one that fucking fits best, keep it. The other one, send it back.
Precisely. But we don't want that. If 50% of your sales are returns,
because then you won't have that inventory if somebody wants to buy.
Well, of course, you don't want that as a business.
Yeah.
I've just been telling people to do
I
that.
get it.
Not just also as a business, but also you don't want to have your customers required to make a purchase twice the price of the amount of the item that they want just to make sure that it fits.
And then have them return. And then have them return the product, come back to the post office, send it back. That's a pain in the ass.
Hassle, But they're hoping that the customers don't return them. They're hoping they buy both pairs and keep them.
Yeah.
It's like the global gym fucking principle.
I mean, a lot of them do because if I buy 2 pairs, I'll probably try to sell it to somebody else instead of returning it.
And it'll be easier.
Yeah, it will be easier.
But in the meantime, Enzo just made $250, $270 from off you.
Plus shipping.
Plus shipping.
Well, they don't get the shit. They don't get the shit.
There's a margin there.
There is, and also they make you pay for your own return. So that's another reason people won't return their stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good point.
So it's all these things. So we want to master that first, perfect it, and then maybe pursue it. Because I honestly don't want people to have a bad experience there. Is it cheap? Is it doable? Yes, it is.
It's better to do it right the first time though,
Precisely.
because if the former scenario happens that you just spoke of, then it turns into a shit show, and then maybe people don't buy the sleeves a second time.
Exactly.
And then maybe the whole idea just kind of goes to shit.
I think the Inzer could do some things, I guess, to address that, to prevent that from being the issue, even in the face of these returns taking place the way they do, and even in the face of having to do the return itself, just by having a better customer experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think they do that. I think with White Toe, that's something I guess we pride ourselves on, and something we do a good job of.
So I actually had an issue with my sleeves, and A7 handled it really well. So the inner layer of fabric started tearing.
Oh yeah.
Not like this, not like the structure. So it wasn't like the sleeve itself, just the
inside fabric.
The outside layer of fabric. And it was like one rip, and then with each use it just got worse and worse and worse. So I emailed them. They reached back out to me, and I am actually awaiting a new pair of sleeves.
Did you send the ones out?
No, when I get them, they want me to use the box, put them back in, ship them back.
Smart. Okay, that's cool.
So that went over really well. So I'm really happy with that customer service experience that A7 had. Yeah. So. But
this is stuff that we love hearing. Not for us. I mean, it's good to hear the companies are taking care of the lifters.
Yeah.
Because the companies are also getting filthy rich off the back of these lifters.
Yes.
And doing absolutely nothing to take care of them. They don't contribute to the sport of these guys and shit like that, or they do so in a very half-assed way.
Well, what's crazy is
when was the last Inzer meet you had? Like something similar to the SPD.
Like a sponsor meet, you mean?
Yeah, like legit.
Oh my God! Is there even sponsor USA?
Dude, they don't even sponsor. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So A7 actually.
So how long has Inzer been around for?
Yeah. So A7 actually sponsored
national.
CT state championships.
I mean, they
I
sponsor.
thought was really cool.
A7 sponsored a lot of meets.
Yeah, which I think is like, and the fact that they're sponsoring
I'm not
local meets, not that like people are getting like anything crazy, but like a water bottle and some stickers and like
I think it's
a fucking
suffices
headband,
for
like that's awesome, you know?
Yeah. But I'm not to lump them in, but I've seen this recurring a lot. Some of our competition, for example, does the same thing. You know, they'll be like, like making posts about like, the fucking cars are driving in, and this, that, and the other thing. You know, just you have the capacity to help the people who got you to that position. Why aren't you doing so?
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't think that company has sponsored a single meet ever.
Nope.
I
don't know. We could be wrong.
Maybe, but I'm pretty sure they have not.
When I think of that particular company, I think of meets. I don't remember one instance in which they both completed together. I can think of A7 and many meets.
National meets, local meets, anything.
SPD, same thing.
Yes.
Many meets and so on and so forth. I can't say the same thing for that company, nor also for Inzer. I can't remember an Inzer sponsored meet. You know,
I'm sure they do. They sponsor meets outside the USAPL.
they might. Aren't they like a US
Like maybe like a WRPF,
like a multiply meets, like unlimited.
Yeah,
meets.
I mean that's
that's where they make their most money.
exactly.
Out of,
so like they probably do sponsor.
Probably.
Yeah, WRPF, WPO,
APA.
Anything that
AP, I know, right?
Anything that pushes the product, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, people aren't, and in the USAPL, even with single ply, Titan is a way bigger and more popular company than Inzer is.
Yeah, and
It
Titan,
is.
I've seen to actually sponsor meets.
Yeah.
They're a smaller company.
And because they make a lot of single ply gear.
Yeah.
Whereas Inzer is like historically like a multiply.
Yeah.
That's their, that's
and a patent trolling company. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the history there. Yeah, it's quite a bit there. It's pretty crazy, in fact, and that's I think one of the reasons why the USP has beef with them is because of that. Like the patent trolling and that kind of stuff.
Whoa, wait, what?
patent
That
troll.
ties into the history. If memory serves correctly, I think Iron Rebel was trying to produce some kind of stuff, and Iron Rebel happens to be owned by the owner of the USPA, Steve Dennison. So,
didn't know that.
likes to file patents for things even before they've even produced them. It files the patents and keeps on to them. So when somebody produces something which is like that stuff, they file what you call the copyright lawsuit, over and over and over and over and over again.
So that's interesting. I actually thought,
They're very litigious.
because I always saw like Andy Huang and John Hack promoting Iron Rebel.
I guess
so I
they're-
always
they're on
assumed
operational end.
that was like their operation.
No, they're on the operational end. They're basically part of that end. They're not.
I had no idea that Steve Dennison owned Iron Rebel.
Yes, he does.
Wow.
Yeah, you can actually take a look.
Mind blown right now.
Yeah, I know. But also conflict of interest much,
Yeah, that's an
I don't know if you're familiar
interesting
with-
scenario.
I don't
No,
know if
I'm
you know
just
what happened to the Yellow Jacket knee sleeves that Inzer produced some years back.
Titan.
No,
Yellow Jacket? I'm pretty
those
sure
are
it's
Titan
Titan.
sleeves.
the Inzer Yellow Jackets, if memory serves correctly.
thought
Something
those
like
were
that.
I'm
Titan
almost
sleeves.
positive it's Titan, but anyways.
So whether it's them or not, I forget. Remember somebody recently told me it was the Inzer Yellow Jackets. I could be mistaken about this. Maybe it is the Titans, but they show up and it could be Titan, I think now.
Anyways.
They roll up to what's called the USP directors.
The more I actually say it, I think you guys are actually
it
right.
could be right. So they roll up to the USP directors, and they're there trying to get their product approved for USPA meets. And on the back of the knee sleeve, on the front of the knee sleeve, is that shining IPF, like what we call hologram sticker.
Oh, yeah.
They see it and patently reject it immediately. Yeah, said nope, and that was it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The more you
And
know.
then they
Yili's up on all the little drama.
Oh, when it comes to beef and like drama, he knows everything.
but I post up to when I make these little posts to my stories and whatever. The amount of responses I get in my DMs and shit like that, it's very enlightening to say the least. I had somebody literally send me the history of Inzer versus I guess what you call IPF and some other kind of shit and whatnot. It was pretty interesting to say the least. But so there's that, and then the other instance with USP having issues with other competitor brands like Inzers is when they banned Inzers for a day, and then they
remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that also took place. So again, USPA is owned by somebody who manufactures powerlifting equipment.
You know what that means, right? Next step for White Toe, make our own power federation. Only allow White Toe products in.
That's a band.
Yeah.
White Toe
That would definitely,
Powerlifting Association. I would definitely compete in White Toe Powerlifting Association.
Nobody would compete in that shit.
I would.
You'd be the national champion.
I would have all the records.
It'd be WTF. No, it's not what the fuck. It's White Toe Federation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
guys,
But yeah, knee sleeves. Thumbs up.
Sleeves. Yes.
Good things.
good things. Bad things for people that talk against them.
So that concludes today's episode, guys. Thanks a lot.
I mean, pretty much.
Listening in. No kidding.
I mean, we could just wrap it up there. That was how long we've been on for.
Like 40? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty much around
I guess
like
that's
the
fair.
usual, the typical white,
yeah, I mean,
the typical like.
if we open up a whole new can of worms now, are people even going to
34
listen?
minutes.
Not at this point. At
I
this
mean,
point,
if you're still listening now, we appreciate you. Just know that.
I think.
So, are you even listening right now?
Sopha's over there shaking
one
her head.
listener confirmed.
As soon as I said, "Do you think if people will listen if we continue?" She was like this. Nope, just shaking her head.
I mean, I think they left us.
She's
as
like,
soon as we started
I've
talking
already
about,
had enough of your guys' conversation. Okay.
I think people left as soon as we started talking about.
Our listeners stay until the end for the most part.
Really?
They do?
That's because he just like listen. They go to sleep.
Yeah.
They wake up the next day.
ASMR.
They're like, "Oh,
That's a hashtag.
We're definitely cutting this part
their
off.
phone's on like 1%." They're like,
No?
"Oh my god."
Okay.
Like, why do I feel so like irate? Why am I so angry? Fuck USPA. User. What?
Okay, subliminal messages like while sleeping.
Am I too reliant on my knee sleeves? What's going on?
Oh, high boy is more taxing than erectors? That's crazy.
I think I'm gonna walk to work with my injuries on.
All right.
Anyways.
Well, we're going to Dallas next weekend for Equip Nats.
You are going,
Oh,
meaning you and Soph.
Me and Soph, or
Yes.
Soph and I, correct. We're going down with a little crew from GPT, so that should be fun. So I don't know if we'll be able to do this again next week, but
I mean, it took us 2 months to get another episode. So.
but I would like to get my
pressure there,
point. I was gonna segue into
Okay.
Us getting together more frequently again because
Yeah, we
I
have to.
enjoyed
Can we do
this
Thursday?
conversation. Can we do Thursday?
Yeah.
You're just gonna put it right on the pod.
Yeah, why not?
No,
Fuck it,
I'm
people-
leaving Thursday.
No, but if
we're
we-
leaving
Thursday?
Thursday.
But if we talk about it on the pod, we have to do it because then we'll
Yeah,
be
that's
assholes if
true
we don't-
accountability
so it doesn't
right
happen. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, when I get back. Oh, well, I'm gonna be in. No, on the.
So much for that.
No, I'm going. So we're going to Dallas next weekend. We're leaving Thursday, and then
Okay.
I'm going to Florida to see my mom
Okay, yeah.
for a couple days,
Okay.
and then I'll be back that weekend, the weekend of the 20th.
So-
That weekend, I'm actually going to be out in Austin. I'm sorry, Houston.
yeah,
And then
who's
the weekend
yeah?
after that, I'm going to be in Houston again.
Who's the saboteur now?
So wait, so you'll go to Houston, come back, and go
I
back?
know. It makes no sense for me. I guess I would like to stay out there the entire time.
Why
But
two?
I spend 11 days away from my family, bro.
But why twice? What do you have?
Because
You have
I have two
regionals?
meets. I have Jacqueline's meet on the 24th.
Oh, okay.
And then I also have...
Oh, we should have talked about
regions out
USA PL Northeast Regionals.
We can talk about that next time.
We can talk
We
about that
have
next time.
we have a few weeks for that, so don't worry
True.
about that.
Ways to
True.
go.
Well, yeah.
Also, we will be sponsoring that meet as well.
Yes, we will.
White Toe is going to be out there.
Yeah, so
we'll be out
speaking
there.
of sponsorships, we will be sponsoring them, and we also we pay the fee, that kind of stuff. Vendor booth is going to be out there, and we also sponsored recently Joey Shepard's meets from Joey Shepard and Aaron Karras' meets
Nice.
for for Shepherd Strength, which is out in the
out in
Midwest.
Indiana.
Some of the best meets I've ever seen. The next move is to help out if we can. Is to sponsor Marshall's meets.
Yes.
Marshall Powell. I love the way he conducted CPT, bro. It was one of the best meets I've ever fucking been to. Production wise, it was the best meet I've ever been to. This is like, I've been to nationals and all this other stuff, and legit, consistently, he's pumping out this amazing product. I was looking to see if I could find some of my lifters videos at USAPL New York States, and all I need to do is go to stream, bro. The quality was fucking phenomenal, cinematic.
That's great.
He does a great job of it.
That's great.
And that's how we grow the sport.
Yeah.
And you support people like that, and you grow it further.
Totally agree.
So that's our move. Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
So will you be out there actually, Mark? At
Northeast Regionals?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have
So we'll
lifters
see you out there.
competing. Soph has lifters competing.
Perfect.
So I think that's July
18th.
15th, 16th, I
18th.
think. 17th. I forget the...
17th, 18th.
Is it 17, 18?
Yes.
All right.
Anyways,
I'll
whatever.
take your word for it. Doesn't matter.
So
It's like the second weekend of
So that's what
July.
our next episode is going to be, guys. So see you like next month.
No, but we should.
See you after regionals.
But we will get together and we'll talk about regionals because we all have lifters competing.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
That'll be a good.
I mean, if we could talk about it like one of those days, like maybe like
Right now, you guys down
now,
to
yeah.
stay for 45 more minutes? No.
Anyway, I think we'll talk about that.
No, it'll be better when we're a couple weeks out.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today. If you're still listening while we're rambling, we appreciate you. But yeah, until next time.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.